So at this point, you have completely clear what we are going to do during the course, and you have completely clear the architecture and basically how the real-time apps work. And well, as it is going to be a Laravel project, during this specific class and along this section, we are going to start preparing and configuring our project in order to work with Laravel and create our real-time applications. We are going to create several of them. So, to create an application for Laravel, we can use preferably Composer. That means that you first need to have PHP recognized in your system, whatever version, preferably after the version 7.2, recommendably the version 7.3, any of them, or even if it is available after that moment, during this course, you can use the 7.4 version, or basically the latest version that you can use. And additionally of that, you need to be sure that the Composer command is recognized on your system as well. So you can check that, you can check the version, obtain the latest one. If it is the case, doesn't matter which version of Composer you have, just be sure to have the latest one and you will not have any problem. So be sure that you have PHP, that you have Composer. Sometimes in some systems you can use composer.phar and that is going to be recognized. This is not my case, but of course just check that just in case. Okay, so once you have Composer, you are completely sure that you have Composer and of course PHP, so we can create a project using create project, and this is going to be a Laravel project. And then we need to specify the folder where we are going to start our Laravel project, the Laravel structure. I'm here in this location. This is going to be executed in the current location. You can use any location that you prefer if you're using XAMPP, MAP, Lab, or of course, any other kind of local or development environment. You are completely free to use any location or any technology on your local environment, which includes, in fact, virtual machines, container, etc. During the course, I'm going to preserve, let's say, a simple approach, and you can follow that if you prefer, but it is not required to you. You can use the approach, is your system, is your development environment, and you can use whatever that you feel comfortable with. So, once it is clear, again, you can use whatever location that you prefer, and it is going to work exactly the same, following the course or any other technologies that you prefer. So, let's use real-time Laravel, and press enter. After pressing enter, Composer is going to resolve the latest version of Laravel and is going to use it. That can be the version 7, the version 6, the version 8. The latest version is recommended to follow the course. I'm not going to tell you to use only the version 6 or only the version 7 or only the version 6.8 like it is the case now. You can use preferably the latest one in the moment that you are following this class. Be completely free to use it, and of course if there is any kind of change, I'm going to notify you to add additional classes or any notice or whatever that is required to let you be sure that the course is going to be functional whatever version that you are using. So let's wait like Composer finished to creating and obtain all the structures of the dependencies of Laravel, and after that we are going to configure our project a little. So once the process is done, we can go to the location of the project and explore the structure of Laravel, but we are going to do that in a visual way, and for that we can use our code editor. For the course, I'm going to use Sublime Text, but again, it is your development environment, so you can use any other different tool if you prefer. You are not forced to use this. You can use Visual Studio Code, you can use NetBeans, you can use PHP Storm, whatever that you need is going to work as well. So in the case of Sublime and probably any other code editor or IDE, we can open the folder with the location of the project and then just explore the current location. So if we are there on real-time Laravel in the location that you created that structure, we have all the components, all the folders and files of Laravel by default. And what we are going to do right now is to configure especially the database connection. For simplicity, I'm going to use, instead of MySQL or any other, I'm going to use SQLite. using SQLite is going to allow me and probably you to use the database into a file. And that means that we don't need a database server. But once again, you can use whatever database that you prefer that is compatible with Laravel, which is SQLite, of course, MySQL, MariaDB. You can use, for example, SQL Server, Postgres, and whatever, again, that you prefer and you feel comfortable with and accomplish the requirements for that. It means having installed the database server that you want to use. In the case of SQLite, we can even add a chart here to comment those lines because we don't need the port, we don't need the name of the user, the password of the database, etc. And by default, Laravel is going to assume that our database is going to be the file for SQLite into the database folder, and there we need to create a database.sqlite file. Once it is there, that means that we can execute the migrations of our project. The migrations are in the database folder, migrations, and by default Laravel comes with the users one. Additionally, we have password reset and failed jobs. But the main migration that we need to execute, even when we are going to use the other ones, the main one, and that is going to allow us to insert users, is this one. This is going to create the users table, which is going to have an ID, a name, an email, a password, the remember token, the timestamps, it means created at, updated at, and even the characteristics for the email verification. So we just need to go to be sure, opening a command prompt in the location of the project. So let's do right there. And once we are in that location, you can execute php artisan migrate. And that is going to create all the structure using, in this case, SQLite or the database connection that you executed and configured. That means this file currently has the structure of our database, of course, correspondingly ciphered. So that's all. You have completely created, configured your project, and to be sure that everything is working as it should, we can execute even php artisan serve, and that means that we can go to this location in our browser and explore the current structure and the current results of having a fresh Laravel installation in our system. So congratulations. Now we need to start configuring and, let's say, customizing the current structure and the components that we have, and that is going to be done in the following class. See you there.